Welcome to Cinema Cult Network, the show. Normally a podcast, but we're mixing it up. This is our very first show. Normally we have a podcast we've been doing for, 4.5 years now?
Yeah, we started, I believe, New Year's Day of January 2015.
Why don't you... what's the story of how we got started?
Oh, how we're doing that?
Yeah, let's go for it.
New Year's party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a big bonfire, and we're like, we should do a podcast.
Actually, we were in the kitchen. That was nowhere near a bonfire. But
I thought we were in the living room.
No, it was the kitchen.
No, I think it was in the living room.
Okay. Well, whatever story it is.
Whatever clue version you have of the story.
We wanted to talk about movies, and that's what our podcast is. It's just movies. We talk about all sorts. You name it, romance, horror, indie, blockbuster, unheard of, mainstream, whatever.
What was our first episode?
Last Action Hero. Yep. That was, I think we decided that very quickly.
Yeah, I think it was like that night. We're like, let's do a podcast. Let's do Last Action Hero.
So basically, we've been doing that for a little over 4 years, and the network that we have different types of like subcategories under Cinema Cult Network. We have Dark House on the Hill, which is all horror related, and we also have Now Playing, which is basically what is in the theaters at that time. But this week, we are solely talking about 80s slasher films. I think this is kind of, I want to say our bread and butter, but this has been on our podcast quite often.
Yeah, we have
this category.
Multiple episodes.
And I have no spoilers. But I do have some feedback on slasher films because going through like the history and the list of everything, I've kind of changed my heart on how I feel about slasher films.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So
are you going to leave that for the end? Is that the hook? That's the hook for the episode?
Okay.
All right.
But yeah, so what we're basically going to do is we're going to talk about our top 5 80s slasher horror films. But to start off, kick it off, we're going to do the original Friday the 13th from 1980. We're going to rate and review that. Not our first Friday the 13th film we've talked about. What have we done? We've done...
The first one we ever did was Jason Takes Manhattan.
Which was episode 2.
Episode 2, okay.
Yeah. And then following that, we have episode 67, which is Freddy vs. Jason. We also have episode 79, which is Jason X. And then we have the second episode of Dark House on the Hill, which is Friday the 13th, the game.
So we've done all the bad Friday the 13th
Pretty much
on this podcast.
Pick the worst
We've
ones.
never,
done it.
There's better ones. We've just decided to pick all the bad ones. Well, I don't know. You have to go back, but I think I liked Freddy vs. Jason.
No, if I remember on the podcast, you were not... I don't think any of us were fans of that movie.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead. Let's talk about 1981 Friday the 13th, directed by Sean S. Cunningham. We have a budget on that?
Yeah, the budget was $550,000.
Okay.
It made $128 million in box office.
Okay. So it was a hit.
Considered, like, this is... Okay, so the era we're talking about here is considered the golden age of slasher films.
Like the 80s?
It actually starts in 78, but we're not covering 70s slasher films. We're going to leave that for another episode another time. So we're starting off at 1980, and the big one in 1980 is Friday the 13th. And that kickstarts several that go up to like around like 1984 is where the golden age ends. That's where they all start to drop off. But specifically, like home video takes off in 1982, and a lot of these movies that they didn't do very well in theaters, they do real great on videotape. And then in 1985, direct-to-video comes out. Okay. So now they're making more of these movies in 1985.
Wait, what year?
1985.
That's when that started?
Yes, direct-to-video, like horror films.
Because then you get in your Blockbuster territory, like Blockbuster Video and all kinds of rental stores and whatnot. So
yeah, and this happens. 85 is the year right after the golden age ends.
Okay.
For slasher films, so all these horror movies start popping up on direct-to-video tape. They're cheaper to make. They're cheaper to distribute. But yeah, here I'm gonna go through some like movies real quick in that slasher era in the 80s and how much they made. So the original Friday the 13th made what we already talked about, $128 million. Nightmare on Elm Street 4 made $104 million. Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D made $101 million. And Nightmare on Elm Street 3 made $99.2 million. Oh, and then Friday the 13th Part 4 in 1984 made $85 million.
Wow.
Yeah, so these were like cash cows at a certain point.
Because I think every Friday the 13th made money back.
Yeah.
Like they're all successes.
Despite
the content.
I think Jason X might have made like a whopping like $15 million or something.
Yeah, because we talk about, and I don't want to get into details on Jason X because we talk about it on that episode.
Yeah.
Because it was like shelved for a little bit, wasn't it?
I don't know. I think it
was something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so these are like cash cows. These are the slasher films in the 80s are at their peak. They're making a ton of money off of cheaply produced movies.
And we can actually talk about how it kind of falls apart too, because like we watched a few movies in preparation for this. I'm sure you did too.
Yeah, I watched it a lot. Yeah.
We watched The Burning, which I guess is considered one of, not like the top tier slasher film, but it's up there. And that came like towards the end. What do you remember what year that was by any chance?
I think it's 81. I think it's 81.
Was it 81?
It's early, yeah. It's
81.
It's very early.
But like what I read is that at that point it was already kind of starting to die down because everybody was making
I say you're
slasher
exhausting
films.
the genre really
Yeah.
fast.
Oh, there's so many like camp themed horror films after Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I say a majority of my picks today.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Camp themed slashers.
there's a couple.
man,
there's
I
a
could
couple
guess
of my
your
top
list.
five. There's a couple of my top.
Okay, well, so let's talk about Kevin Bacon's Friday the 13th.
Directed by Kevin Bacon.
I already know from the get-go Matt doesn't like this movie. So let's start off there. Why
All right.
don't you like Friday the 13th?
It's okay. So I think I would really have liked this movie if I would have saw it in 1980.
I think so, yeah.
And now I've read this that like the big push was that everybody thought the killer was supposed to be Jason, right?
That's what, I mean,
And
that's
Spoiler
like,
alert.
No,
yeah.
no.
What?
In the original though, right? So it's like
Yeah.
that's the but like if you've you know Jason doesn't pop up in it, the movie's kind of a flat tire.
Sure.
Because you know who like pops up, and it's like I think what gets me is there's so many POV shots. I like POV shots, point of view shots of like the killer stalking.
Yeah.
But there's so many of them in this movie, and it gets boring to watch.
And it's also
There's a lot
because
of
they like
cat and mouse
They
stuff.
kind of killed the whole idea of Jason being the killer because it's always like point of view, and then whoever they're stalking's like, "Hey, I know you."
Yeah.
And it's like even though we already know the story of Jason,
I think
I
that's
guess-
like the most common thing. They're like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
people are gonna be surprised when you're here.
I guess what I'm getting at is that if you like, it's got a bad rewatch value to it.
I don't think it does.
That's what I'm saying. I would have liked it if I didn't know anything about it and I would have saw it in 1980. But
It's
oh my
kinda
gosh,
just
it's
like
his mom.
I mean, compared to the rest of the franchise, like this one is very generic and kind of B level.
Yeah.
Compared to like your other, which has like a bigger budget with makeup and everything, and you see the killer Jason. So
I feel like, and I know we've probably done this on one of our podcasts, like if I had to rank the Friday the 13th, this might be in like the top 2 or 3.
okay.
I really like the original.
Really?
I feel like it looks really good. That's how I feel.
No, I'll give you that. I think it looks really good.
I think it looks good.
I think it sounds good.
I like the acting.
The
Soundtrack's good.
Music's on point.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the music already?
Oh, we can save it for
You want to
a
say?
later
Okay,
segment.
we'll hold off on the music for a second.
Yeah, I feel like, and obviously you get the start of Kevin Bacon, which is,
I think this is
It's a
his
big deal.
he's not my favorite actor by any means, but it sounds like
we
it
do
is.
have an episode on Kevin Bacon, so
Do we? Yeah, we have an episode where we profiled Kevin Bacon and we reviewed Tremors. So, spoiler alert, it holds up.
Yeah. Tremors is an awesome movie.
But no, I think this movie, I like it because the gore is toned down. I like the mystery of it because if you talk to anybody, a lot of people think Jason is the killer in the first one.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think
it's-
like if I had to see it for the first time, yeah, I would like it. But I've seen it a million times over. I guess what I'm saying is it might just be
you
my
already
own,
know the twist ending.
It might be my own curse that I'm
Sure.
just bored by this.
Yeah.
Bored by it at this
Yeah.
point.
And that's how I feel. Did you watch April Fool's Day?
I did.
Okay, we
Did
watched
you for
it
the
for this.
for this?
I did.
We watched it for this.
Cool.
Okay, well, side note. Okay, so April Fool's Day. What did you think?
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun.
And I think that's one of those movies that big time when you know the ending.
I knew
Yeah.
the ending way years ago. I knew the
really,
ending.
and I feel like that kind of ruins it because now you're not playing along. You're like, okay, I know
Sure,
the ending.
but it was still like the
It's a
ending
good
was fun,
movie. Yeah, I dig it. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. But yeah, I don't think that ruins it for this movie
Sure.
at all, though.
Yeah.
But so what would you rate this on a grade scale? Pluses, minuses, whatever. What would you grade it?
Quite.
I would give it about honestly a C plus. I give it a C plus.
I was gonna say around the
Yeah.
C plus range for me as well.
I don't recommend it. I only recommend it if you hadn't seen it before. Keep
Yeah, if
pushing
this is
that
your
point.
first
then you do
entry, you
recommend
have
it.
to start.
I recommend it if you haven't seen it. But I wouldn't say this would be a starting point. I think the whole point for this episode tonight is, for me at least, when I saw my top 5, is what slasher films would I recommend to somebody who had never seen slasher films
Yeah.
before? But hey, these are the 5 core 1980 slasher films to watch that you would really enjoy.
Cool.
And
Well, I wish I would have thought of it that way because I kind of I
Really?
didn't think about it as making a list for someone who has never seen a slasher film.
I mean, Is that usually like a top 5
Because
recommended list?
spoiler alert, mine is like sequels.
Oh yeah, no, mine's
Yeah.
all sequels. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
mine.
what you
I don't
recommend,
think
that's
I
what you
have.
recommend.
No, I know.
Yeah, I got sequels. They're on all sequels, but there's. Sequels
I
on
would
there.
give this movie though overall, I give it a B minus. I feel like it's
It's on that range.
if we didn't have that movie, we wouldn't have a lot of the slasher films we have now,
Sure.
horror films,
Yeah.
some of the great sequels, which I'm sure they're in one of our top 5 lists coming up here.
Okay.
But yeah, rewatch value is good for me. So am I the only one recommending this movie?
I mean, I would recommend it.
Oh yeah,
But
I
it's
would
not
recommend.
my-
I just yeah, if you hadn't seen it before, but yeah.
I'm only
Okay.
recommending because we have an episode on it. So, but
So that's our review on Friday the 13th. We watched it. So okay, let's talk about our top 5 80s slasher films. I want to start off with you.
Oh, okay.
Because I just pointed at you.
All right. So I would say, are we doing? Never mind. Of course we are. This is a stupid question. I was like,
No,
are
go
we
for it.
starting off at like our number one, like our number one most like?
just list
Rated.
how you would list it.
Okay. So I would put at number 5. We talked about it, but April Fool's Day.
Okay.
Really? Reaction
Yeah.
5?
I think April Fool's Day is one of those movies that'd be really cool to show off. Maybe I don't want to talk about the spoilers of the ending
Yeah.
on the show.
That's fair.
What's the gist of the plot? What's the plot for?
They
April
go to it's like and then there were none. Like as far as the Agatha Christie
Okay.
book, it's kind of like a Clue concept,
Fool's? Sure.
I guess, where
It's a group of teenagers. They
They-
go to a summer home, right?
it's like an island, right?
Yeah.
It's like a summer home. It's on an island,
Yeah.
so they have to take a boat over, and they're stuck.
Yeah.
And it's a murder mystery, and
I feel like it definitely plays off the Friday the 13th, and I mean it is
Mhm.
kind of a copycat, but I feel like it does
They
its
play
own
off the,
thing.
the tropes and everything of
Yes.
like going alone,
Yeah.
Sex and violence, all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But what I like about it so much is I love the actors that are in it. I love they all have like a lot
You
of
know what?
character.
So when I turned this on, I had no idea that was it Thomas Wilson or Thomas F. Wilson from
Yeah.
he plays Biff from Back to the Future.
He's the best part of the movie.
He's
Yeah.
great. He's great in this movie. And
Well, like
it's,
Deborah Foreman's in it.
and it's 2 or 3 years after the first Back to the Future, or even the same year as Back to the Future Part 2.
It
was
is, what year was
I think
it?
it's 86.
86. So it's a year after Back to the
Yeah,
Future.
which is crazy because I only knew him from Bushwhacked. So
Yeah.
Wait, who's in Bushwhacked?
I think him.
Biff is?
Yeah.
Really?
I didn't
I
know
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Bushwhacked since I was a kid.
Okay.
I feel like we brought Bushwhacked up on the podcast
Yeah.
so many times. No, I think that's a stellar movie. Like I said, I feel like about April Fool's Day the way you feel about Friday the 13th. But this movie's fun. The characters
Yeah.
are.
And the music's really good too.
It
Mhm.
is, yeah. And
It's
Charles Bernstein.
is it Charles? Yeah, it is
Mhm.
Charles Bernstein.
Yeah.
Whose fame comes from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
my number 5 is Funhouse.
Hey,
Really?
same here.
Okay.
Is it really?
Funhouse-
Oh, that's
Yeah.
weird.
That was my honorable mention, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Why do you
I
like
think
Funhouse so
Funhouse-
much.
Funhouse is a little slower than I remembered, but it played a big part in my childhood because I feel like that movie is just creepy.
It has one of
Mhm.
the most haunting opening credits sequences.
Is that supposed to be the guy from the movie? It's haunting.
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 Is that what he says? I don't know. It's-
Terrifying.
Okay.
Terrifying.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, the shots of like all the dolls and the puppets from the
Oh, yeah, I
funhouse
can
itself,
remember.
Yeah.
and just creepy music and everything.
Awesome score.
Yeah.
I don't remember the score.
Shot really well.
Who
too.
does who does the score offhand or?
No,
It's
I
fine
don't.
if you don't. Okay.
Because I honestly only did the notes on like my top 5.
Okay.
But yeah, I knew it.
But yeah.
I'm gonna think about when I'm on the way home. And like,
Okay, I don't want to sound like an amateur, but I always pronounce his name wrong. The
Toby
direct-
Hooper.
It is
Yeah.
Toby?
Yeah.
Okay. Toby Hooper directed Poltergeist. He did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's got a pretty good
Salem's
track
Lot.
record.
No, it's George A. Romero. The Crazies.
no,
That's not-
that's George Romero.
Salem's Lot.
Okay. Okay.
He did
yeah,
TV
yeah.
version of Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a really good track record, and I feel like that is his just creepiest. Like it's
Yeah.
basically what I mean. What's the plot? It's about
It's like a Rob Zombie movie, not directed by Rob Zombie.
before
I think
Rob
that's-
Zombie made a
yeah,
movie.
before
It is
Rob
kind of-
Zombie
yeah.
made a movie.
It's
That's
kind
like-
of just your teenagers trying to be, what are they trying to do? They're basically trying to stay the night in the fun house.
yeah.
And just stay after hours because they heard their friends did it one time. They want to do themselves, and then they're
Well, there's a murder mystery involved with
there's
the,
a murder
the
mystery,
traveling carnival.
and then there's a masked man and a Frankenstein's monster
Yeah,
mask. He's
which is
stalking
actually
them.
it's Rob Zombie.
Is it?
Yeah, no. In the Frankenstein mask. Yeah, and it's just like it's a cool like confined.
Yeah,
It is.
It's her
Trapped in-
isolation horror movie.
It's a
And-
little okay. I didn't put it on my list, so this is why I didn't put it on my list. It was like number 6.
Okay. Well, we did top 5.
We did top 5. That's why I'm saying it didn't crack it. It's a little bit of a slow burner. It really doesn't kick up until like the last half hour of the movie.
Yeah,
agreed.
I agree.
I think the payoff is good though.
It's not a bad movie. I'm not saying
I like
it's a
the
bad
way it
movie.
unravels. It's definitely got a nice murder mystery type thing.
They also
going
jumps
on.
back and forth between the 4 teenagers and then one of the main character's brother. It's kind of like his own journey. So there's kind of like 2 stories involved.
It
in
totally
a way,
is. Yeah.
which is kind of nice.
And actually has probably one of the creepiest scenes ever to me. It's been a while since I've seen it, but when the girl, I guess, tried to like seduce
I know what you're talking
the
about.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, she like.
And it totally backfires on her. That used to creep me out,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
that,
he, like,
that scene
kills her.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
But so that was your 5 too.
That's my 5.
Cool. Okay. I
Oh,
didn't think
really?
anybody else would
Yeah.
pick that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So we have a thing too. So we decided that whatever movie we rank the highest that all 3 of us have in common is our as a podcast
Our
/ TV
recommended
show.
movie.
Yeah.
That's our pick.
It'll be our 1980s slasher recommendation.
Yeah. So far it looks like it'd be Funhouse, but
It's like, oh, cool. We're like,
we just
started.
All right, Matt. What's your number 4?
My number 4. Okay, so this one's kind of a random one, but I think I'm kind of obsessed with this movie at this point.
Okay.
I've watched it. We've covered it on the podcast,
Okay.
and I've watched about 4 or 5 times since we've watched it on the podcast.
Is it Child's Play?
No, it's Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, Sleepaway Camp.
I love Sleepaway Camp. I always this is the movie I love showing to people.
Yes.
And I love watching it with people where I'm just like, yeah, just sit down and you've never seen
I'm
this
just
before.
going to jump ahead. This is my number 1 pick.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
man.
Can't help it. I mean,
Why-
I got to talk about it.
Okay, why do you like it so much?
It is one of the most fun movies to watch with a group of friends and just have a good time
Yes.
and enjoy. And it's just your typical, horror movie. It takes a place on in a camp, and there's just a masked killer or like a killer just lurking around.
It's that simple though.
Yeah.
As far as there's not much to it. There's not much to the story. It is a best way to sum it up. It's a badly made horror film,
Yes.
and it's hysterical.
Yeah.
And
we watched this.
We watched this for the podcast.
Yeah.
And
it's got
we
cult
knew-
status at this point.
Oh yeah, and we had seen it. You'd seen it, right?
Yeah, I saw it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Oh, a wee lad. if
A
you
wee
will.
lad.
We knew the ending, but Matt didn't.
Oh man, I did not know the. Okay.
If you don't, we're not going to
Yeah,
spoil
we're
it.
not
If
gonna
you
talk
haven't
about
seen Sleepaway Camp, it is.
Okay, so the movie is laughable the whole time, right? Because we're laughing at things. It's
and like
just a
Honto
really
said,
fun
it's
watch.
a total group watch.
It's a
for
you
sure.
don't watch it by yourself.
Don't do
that's
that.
just sad. But the ending is just the ending's kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
It totally throws you off. It's like the only scary moment in the whole movie, and you're just like, you get done watching, you're like, what the hell?
And
Yeah.
it's so unpredictable,
Yes.
which is the best part.
It's very
And
unpredictable.
that actually might be one of our best podcasts.
yeah.
It's my favorite. One of my favorite podcast episodes we've done. It was episode 21.
21? Man, a long time ago. I will say I like this movie. I don't know. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Like I said, it's got to be. You got to watch it as a group. That's
See, yeah,
like-
my memories attached to it are as a group laughing, watching Matt's reaction, everything. And
That's the greatest part.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but good pick.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Oh,
Dream
Yeah.
Warriors, all right?
I was
Dream
gonna. I
Warriors.
forgot to list that. I was gonna list that. I forgot to.
Oh,
It's
really?
too late. It's too late.
What would
We're
you
live.
What would you bump out? Would that
You
be your
can
number
change it
5?
right now. Well, hold on. You think about it. I'm going
Okay.
to talk about it.
Okay.
And you can figure that out. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is the best Nightmare on Elm Street.
I think
believe.
it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
It is fun. It holds up very well. The cast is killer. The score is awesome. I don't think
it
I
was
could
written by Frank Darabont, wasn't it?
I think he did one of the versions, but yeah.
Okay.
And I think there's nothing bad to say about this film. You could probably watch that film without seeing the first 2, I would think, and get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they explain enough of what or who Freddy Krueger is, where it's
Yeah.
like you're just kind of going into it, and you got your fresh new batch of kids,
Yeah.
and then you're kind of just watching a brand new story in a way.
Can I tell you, though,
Good.
you said the third one's the best. I'm going to say I think the best Nightmare on Elm Street is Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Oh man,
The
Rennie Harlan
The
one.
Rennie Harlan one. Dude,
Okay.
it is awesome.
I rewatched
And that's
it
where,
recently.
Really? It's the
Yeah.
most fun. Like, because I feel like it's right where because people say this about Dream Warriors. They say this is where Freddy's in his prime. I think 4 is when Freddy's like in his absolute prime, where he's making jokes.
Yeah.
Like the kills are real inventive.
There's the one where the guy uses martial arts.
Yeah,
right,
it's just goofy by the time they get to 4, and I think it's a fun watch.
Okay.
I remember owning that on VHS, and it said, it said something like, "Never has there been a cinematic villain since Darth Vader," or something really like Newsweek said it or whatever.
Okay.
Don't listen to him. 4 is
what?
4 is okay.
It's not on my top 5, but 4 is my recommendation.
No, that's fair. I actually thought about, just for like a second, about putting Part 2 on there. I think
Part 2 is pretty good.
I think I like how dark Part 2 is.
It goes, yeah.
Score's stellar.
The score's really awesome, Part 2.
It's just and it doesn't fit with any of the other movies in the series. Like, that's as dark as it gets.
That would be the equivalent of what, like Halloween 3 and like the Friday the 13th, A New Beginning with Roy the Killer.
I never really realized that.
There's always that one entry
that you could cut out.
Yeah.
So, Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Yeah.
Halloween 3. Friday 5.
It's Friday A New Beginning.
Yeah.
So,
you could totally cut out all 3 of those movies and still interesting. All right, cool. What do you got for your 4?
That way.
The Burning.
Okay.
I just watched this for the podcast.
You talk about this movie a lot, though.
I like it a lot.
Like, yeah.
I mean, it's got your. I think I like it because it's like your first introduction to Jason Alexander from Seinfeld.
Yeah. That's the only reason you like it?
Yeah, it's the only reason why I like it.
He kills it in this movie. Yeah.
He's pretty good. He's very enjoyable. And then there's Fisher Stevens, who was in the movie Hackers. Everyone knows Fisher Stevens and Short Circuit.
That's another movie you love.
Okay.
Hackers,
and
man.
then
I've never seen
Holly
Hackers.
Hunter. I think Holly Hunter's first movie.
Where's she at in it?
She's like a minor role.
Yeah, she was at Campfire. She doesn't have any lines.
Oh, okay. So the version we watched
Okay.
was an SD version that was like 480p.
Okay.
So you couldn't see anybody. I'm pretty sure Daniel Stern's in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he?
I don't know.
I don't know.
So.
It looked like Daniel Stern.
Did you just state it and then ask him if that was true?
Well, he's seen it. The only time I've ever seen The Burning, I've seen it twice, is I've watched it on YouTube for free.
Okay.
And it's real bad quality. And
Yeah.
I can't. I'm like this the whole time, like trying to figure out who's in it. And
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I
magnifying glass
saw
and everything.
Kevin Bacon's in it.
No, I don't
No,
think
you
so.
made that up, bro.
No,
Yeah,
I think you got
Sylvester
to mix up with. I think you got to mix
Sylvester
up with Friday the 13th.
Kevin Bacon's
Oh.
Friday the 13th.
Sylvester Stallone's in it for a minute.
Is
Are
he?
you just making this up?
I don't know.
Because,
I couldn't see anything. I'm just
Okay.
guessing actors that could be in this movie.
I don't think any of those people are in it.
Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah, he's in it for a second. Yeah.
But the soundtrack, I think, is my favorite part.
I
Yeah.
just picked it up. I haven't listened to it yet.
Rick
but
Wakefield does
watching. I guess he's from the band Yes.
I think that's correct.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I don't like this movie.
Yeah.
And
Why does
this-
I
this
feel like,
movie?
yeah.
I think this movie kind of ruins slashers for me. Okay, I'll spoil it right now. I don't really like slasher films. I decided because
Welcome to our first episode.
they get too gory sometimes.
Yeah, this one is over the top.
And when it becomes too realistic, that's when I turn off. Tom Savini's graphics in this are insane.
Oh man, I got you my number 3 pick on.
Yeah,
I already-
this is,
I
this is toned
know
down
what it
compared
is
to
now.
some
Yeah,
of
this is
other.
nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
But when
compared.
when it's like a supernatural element, like a Freddy or a Jason, I'm okay with that. It's
Sure.
fun. I know I can make
when
believe.
it's like grounded in reality in a way.
Yeah.
that's where it gets.
But when he gets towards that like Henry / I don't know. When it gets too dark,
I know you're-
that's when I
yeah,
turn
I know
off.
exactly
I'm
what
not
you're
saying I
saying.
hate slashers, but it was very easy to put together a top 5 because there were so
Yeah.
many I didn't like.
Yeah,
So
I'll tell you what, that's the way I felt when I watched New York Ripper.
yeah.
It was a Luci Fulci movie. That like desensitized
I
me
say
to
anything from Italy, any
Yeah.
of the giallo, serial killer slasher movies,
especially
from
the
Italy.
stuff that drops in the 80s is just
Dario
so
Argento.
extreme.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, like anything but this is tame.
Sure.
I will say
so I
that-
understand how you feel.
it did have some laughable moments that
Yeah.
were totally unintentional, but good cast. I did like the cast.
I
in
like the
this.
cast. a lot
Yeah.
in this
I'll tell you what,
like the
Jason
story.
Alexander from The Burning with what's his name from April Fool's Day.
Oh, Thomas Wilson.
Yeah, those two together in a movie. Me and Matt want to see that movie.
Oh yeah, like a buddy slasher movie.
yeah, a buddy slasher.
Well,
Did we just create something?
Yeah. We never talk about this with slasher films, but our favorite characters usually are the ones that we laugh at.
The goofballs
The
of the
goofballs.
bunch.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to see a movie where like it's the two goofballs that are surviving at the end, and it's
Yeah.
like then you're like real like you feel like you're really in danger.
Very
because you're
tense.
like,
Yeah.
I
That
don't want
movie
these guys
has
to
to have
die.
been made. silent. So that
I
was your,
I was like the
I
cogs.
was just
all of
trying to
ours, like,
think. Yeah, I was just trying to think for a second.
we're trying to think of what that movie would look like.
we had dead air for like 15 minutes. So that was your 4?
Yeah, that's my number 4.
Matt, what do you got for your number 3?
My number 3, special effects by Tom Savini.
All right, can I just say it for you?
Yeah, go ahead, dude.
Is it Maniac?
Oh no, it's not.
Oh, what were you gonna say?
The Prowler.
The
Oh,
Prowler.
I've never seen
Dude,
the Prowler.
Wow.
I've never seen it.
The Prowler's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
but
it.
like like as far as like kills go in it though, they're like
Is it?
they're I mean
tough.
they're tough because they look kind of horrifying. They're not. I don't know. I know how like it's hard to watch some of this stuff.
I mean, that's
sometimes.
Tom Savini's style. Is that?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a former, I think, war photographer in Vietnam. So that's like where his
I forgot
special
about that.
effects
Yeah.
kind of came from.
And
Yeah.
this is like he considers this to be his like best special
Like
effects work,
masterpiece.
his masterpiece as far
Really?
as special effects go. Yeah.
Okay. Do you like Prowler?
I do. It's not on my list,
Yeah.
but I dig it a lot. I
Okay.
think it's pretty solid. I like the theme of the slasher. He's basically a World War II
Yeah.
soldier, like masked soldier, and it's like just the concept is pretty interesting. So
Okay. Is it more of a low budget?
I would say medium.
yeah,
I would say like I would put it on par with Friday the 13th.
yeah.
Because
It
I've
doesn't
honestly,
look like low. I don't think it looks like low
No, it
budget
looks,
at all.
yeah, I think it was pretty good.
because I never had heard of it until that vinyl came out recently.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was.
Yeah, that's your list.
Okay, I'll watch it. Okay. Did you know who directed that by any chance? Is it a name by any?
Yeah, Joseph Zito.
Anything?
He also did Friday the 13th 4.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that okay.
So with Savini again. Tom
Yeah.
Savini did the special effects on that as well.
Okay. All right.
This is a Savini heavy episode.
It
Yeah.
is. We recommend Savini. My number 3 would be Child's Play.
Oh.
I don't think you like Child's Play. I'll tell you why I like it, and then you can tear me apart.
Okay.
I think Child's Play does not play off like that wasn't a pun. It does not play off like a low budget horror film. Like it's like a kind of like a noir feel to it. It has a solid story. I think the acting's really good.
Yeah, this is like
Yeah.
a real movie compared to the other. I mean, no, I mean like in the
I
sense,
know exactly.
in
I
the
know.
sense that like the second Child's Play, because I just rewatched these movies.
Did you?
Child's Play 2 and 3. I just rewatched them. Those movies are like kind of hilarious.
They're fun to watch.
I feel like they get fun by like 2 and 3.
Yeah.
One is
Well, it's like it's more focused on Chucky,
yeah.
whereas this one it's like, is the doll real or is it not real? Kind of that whole thing, where it's just kind of like your typical drama in a way.
Yeah. I think once again this is one of those movies that I would have liked if I had seen the first one and not known about sequels. You know, I think I think I saw this in reverse. I think I saw 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did too.
Yeah, and I think I did the same thing with like the Leprechaun movies.
I think you talk about the Leprechaun movies so much that I feel like
I don't remember them.
but you talk about them a lot.
I don't remember them. They're like
You talk
I
about
watched
it
them
at
back in the '90s, and I haven't seen them. Well, I watched the first one for St. Patty's Day this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like twice a week you mention Leprechaun.
Yeah,
So I feel like eventually
that's how I
I
feel.
say
too,
eventually
twice a
we'll
week.
cover a Leprechaun movie. I feel like
Maybe one day. If we do, we got to do 2.
So wait, why don't you like your favorite? Why don't you like Child's Play? I know
I think
you
it's
started talking about Leprechaun and then
Oh, well, because I think I'm at this point where a lot of these like horror villains, these slasher villains, get to a point where they get comic booky,
yeah.
and it's weird. You get to a point where it's like more fun to watch them than it is to like fear for their victims. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Because they even
yeah.
said this. I was reading a lot of papers about slasher films, and they said like by like 4 or 5 into a lot of these movies, it's more about you're watching. It's like the hero of the movie's Jason, and you're watching him do his thing.
It's their show. That's what people
Yeah.
are there to see. Is basically these slasher, like the killers themselves. So they got to focus them more in the movie.
And it's not about the victims. So it's
Yeah.
like they spend less time. They spend less time like building up these character arcs with their victims
I mean,
than they do.
it explains why like
in the
you
past.
watch any of these movies and you can't recall a single name of the people.
Yeah.
Like in the teenagers or whatever the main characters of your movie you're watching.
and that's when it kind of loses. That's when you can tell a movie's losing steam when you don't know their names.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they have no traits. A lot of the Friday 13th get to that point where they're just like, you got your blonde, you got
It's
your
like-
jock, you got
Yeah,
your
it's the Breakfast
whatever.
Club in a slasher movie,
Good
basically.
point. Good point. But I
But-
will counter argument that with my number 1,
Okay.
I'm gonna fight you on that. But What? So what? I'm still confused on.
Yeah,
why.
I'm getting there. It's a long journey, but I'm gonna get there.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. It's kind of like the Lord of the Rings. We're gonna get there.
Yeah, 5 epilogues later.
Yeah, we'll get there. What I'm saying is like you watch the other ones, and they're like, Chucky's like this icon at this point. You know what Chucky looks like. He's funny. He's it's goofy, and then you go back to watch like the original one, and he's not that funny in the original.
He's like very serious and kind of menacing and terrifying and almost non-existent in the movie until almost the end of the movie.
Yeah, and I feel like it doesn't ruin the first one. I like Child's Play. I think Tom Holland did it, right? He did Fright Night.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, he also wrote Psycho 2. I watched that this weekend. That's awesome, dude. Awesome movie.
Is it
Psycho 2? Yeah.
I couldn't get into it, but
is that the one with is it Meg Tilly or Jennifer?
Yeah, Meg Tilly.
Meg
Yeah.
Tilly? Okay.
Yeah.
Where's she from?
She's Jennifer Tilly's sister.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think the only thing I knew her from was
Yeah, I do.
the only thing I knew her from was A Big Chill.
Okay.
Jennifer Tilly?
No, Meg Tilly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was I getting at? So anyways,
Why you don't like Child's Play?
I like it. I like Child's Play. I think you keep putting those words in my mouth. I like this movie. I just feel like I like the other ones a little bit more.
Okay.
Well, and I feel like, I don't think you visit them at all, but you got like the first like 2 or 3 are kind of dark.
Mm-hmm.
They get humorous, and then the last 2 that came out, Curse and
like Bride and the last two that just
Seed.
came out.
the last 2. So you got like Seed, you got Bride and Seed, and then I think there's Curse
Cult.
and Cult. Yeah.
Yeah.
Curse and Cult get back to like that dark roots where it's like creepy again.
Well, because okay, I feel like at a certain point it knows what it is, and it's like, okay, it's a doll that comes back to life, and how many times do they punt Chucky?
Yeah,
in this
multiple
movie,
times,
they just kick him. You know what I mean?
That's how you get rid of him.
That's how they get rid of him. So they know it's like a joke at a certain point,
Yeah.
and I think it works for one movie, but I don't think it works for a multitude of them.
For 7 movies.
Where it's scary at least.
Yeah.
I'll
I mean, we'll
say
see
it
what
was-
this upcoming Child's Play movie that's coming out next month.
Yeah, it's not Brad Dourif anymore.
It's Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill's voicing him.
So, but we also got the TV show as well, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But so that was my number 3. What do you got for number 3?
It is Madman. Have you heard of Madman?
Nope.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Did you just pick that because it was obscure?
No, I've watched it.
No,
like,
I-
do you know what it
I
is?
for
I
some
know
reason
Madman.
have watched this. Like,
Why Madman?
I think it's just like again, it's your campfire, camp serial killer slasher or whatever.
Yeah.
just stalking. But it's based off the Crosby legend,
Yeah.
which you're familiar with.
Yeah. So you have 2 Cropsy movies
Yeah,
on
I do.
your list,
Well,
don't you?
this one is the unofficial one because The Burning is really the Cropsy movie of the
Yeah.
bunch.
So the story goes.
You gotta start. Yeah, I
Okay,
don't know.
the story
what
goes.
you're talking
I don't
about.
really know much about Cropsy. Cropsy is this urban legend that exists out in I think New Jersey or Long
Yeah.
Island or some.
I think
like,
it's yeah.
Yeah. And at the time they were making, I think it was Mad Men, right? They were making Mad Men. They were like, they wanted to do a movie about Cropsy. They saw
The
the success.
urban legend, yeah.
They saw the success of Friday the 13th, and they're like, let's make our own Friday the 13th. Let's do this Cropsy legend.
Yeah.
And during production, they find out that this other movie, The Burning, is doing a story about
Which
Cropsy, and they have to abandon it.
I think The Burning is actually Miramax's first horror movie.
Yeah, we didn't know that. We were watching it this weekend, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's the Weinsteins are
Harvey
attached
Weinstein,
to it." Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Mad Men is just like a movie. For some reason, I've watched it several times. I'll just throw it on randomly and just watch it all the way through.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird.
I haven't gotten.
But
through
I'll
this
recommend
yet.
it just because I've watched it so many times that I feel like I need somebody to talk to about this movie.
Okay.
I think I've started up twice and
Yeah.
haven't finished it.
Yeah, I like the music.
Not because I didn't like it.
The music's kind of cool. The cinematography is actually pretty
come back
creepy
to
because
it.
it's all at night.
Mhm.
You see a lot of silhouettes of the slasher, and it's kind of creepy. Has a
Dude,
creepy vibe to
when
it.
we watched The Burning, it was so pixelated that everything was
Everything
like,
looked like a silhouette
yep,
at
it was
nighttime.
pretty bad.
Yeah, dude. That's what I was saying. There's a lot of actors in that movie that I did not know were in that movie.
Yeah.
So.
Did anybody directed that we know, or any actors or anything?
No,
No.
not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll check it out. So that's your 3. Matt, what's your number 2?
My number 2. This would be my number 1 if it
That
was.
doesn't make any sense.
Hold on, I'll get there. This would be my number 1 if it was uncut.
Okay.
Because the version of it I've seen a million times has been kind of chopped up.
Okay.
My Bloody Valentine.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's
The remake.
No, I haven't even seen the remake yet.
It's bad.
Yeah.
I've heard it was good. Like it was decent.
I don't like it.
Is it really bad?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Okay. I'll still check it out.
Okay.
But yeah, I love this movie. I watch it every Valentine's Day.
Previous episode for Dark House.
Yeah, and we've covered it before. So I don't know what else to say about this movie that we hadn't talked about on that episode.
Kind of
I can't remember. I didn't mean to cut you off. I don't remember how I thought about it, but I think it's okay.
I think it's pretty good. I like the music a lot for this.
I like the music. I like the lore to it. I like the story behind the killer.
Again, it's like you're themed. Every slasher has a theme to them. So this one is like a miner that's stalking around Valentine's Day. Every Valentine's Day, right?
We've got I've broken this down before. Like a lot of the tropes that go with these slasher films is they give you a villain. Yeah. They give you a location and they give you some kind of like theme. So Friday the 13th, campground, Jason Voorhees, My Bloody Valentine, a miner in a mining town on Valentine's Day. Yeah. Halloween, Michael Myers, suburbs,
Halloween.
Revenge. I don't know why I just cut you.
Yeah.
Everything you said.
So that's like, and they start following this like kind of formula.
Yeah.
So, but I think my favorite of them all is like my favorite formula where that plays out is My Bloody Valentine.
It's got a pretty cool gimmick.
Yeah, it's just trapped in a mine. Yeah. I mean, like what a horrible place to be.
Some of the shots, because they shot in an actual mine for that movie.
Yeah.
And it's kind of impressive that they were able to shoot like just a movie like that.
Yeah.
And it gives a kind of a creepy vibe just in general.
It's one I recommend.
And I think we talked about it on the podcast, but that movie was like heavily edited.
Oh yeah. There's a whole different cut out there that I don't think is really able. You can't access.
Yeah.
Now I just read about this too. I don't know if this is true, but they said the reason why it was heavily edited is because John Lennon was assassinated that year or around that time.
Okay.
And the movie was about to come out, and they're like, just like edit like all the gore and stuff out of it. So I had to I think that was what 82. I think is 81.
81. Okay.
I don't know if this is correct or not, but a lot of these like MPA like came down real hard on these slasher films and like you got to take all the gore stuff out.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I don't know if that has to. I would like to see. This is one of those movies I really badly want to own on Blu-ray, where it's like uncut with a ton of special features, and they haven't released anything for it.
Yeah.
Is Tom Atkins in that one?
No.
Okay, he's in the remake.
Yeah,
that's what I was confused on.
Which one are we on? Number 2?
Yep, my number 2 is the original Halloween 2.
Okay, yeah.
We have it. It's the sequel to the first one.
No, okay, why?
The way you look, you're like,
why?
I think this movie is solid, man.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I know we've done that on the podcast.
This is a previous episode as well.
I don't think it's my favorite score of all time, but it's in my top 5.
Really?
Yeah, I think the score
adds a little bit more synth. It's like more synthy. And it kind of adds to the original theme from '78.
Yeah, exactly. Because the first score we've talked about before, where it's just kind of like it's repetitive.
Yeah.
And it kind of does the same thing. I mean, if you listen to it from beginning to end, it's just the same.
There's like 3 different tracks.
Yeah,
maybe.
But yeah, score is heavy for that. Or why I like it so much. I just like the whole maze.
Who was the director on Halloween 2? Because I feel like when we were watching it for the podcast, the cinematography is like top notch, like almost emulated.
I think it was Dana Carvey.
Okay, so Dana Carvey's in Halloween 2.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is a paramedic.
Yeah, always
for a couple
that.
shots.
Yeah.
So I read up on this Halloween 2. There's parts where John Carpenter came in and directed some of that movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but his name's not on it anywhere. So that's why there's shots in that movie that are like
doing a little ghost directing.
Yeah. So he did some ghost directing. But the story that goes with Halloween 2 is that he was tasked to write it. John Carpenter was tasked to write the movie, and they basically said, "We're gonna make a sequel. Do you want the money? We're gonna pay you to write a movie." And he wrote the outline at the beginning of a month, and then at the end of the month, sat down with a case of beer and wrote the entire
rest of it.
wrote the screenplay out. He said he hates this movie. That's the assumption I got. Basically, it was hard for him to get through writing the screenplay for a sequel for a movie he didn't think needed a sequel.
I feel like this movie just doesn't get the reputation it deserves.
I think it's. I don't think it's that bad.
It's not that bad.
I think it's better than 4 and 5.
Oh yeah, 4 and 5 are like almost unwatchable movies.
You say that, and you say that, but we've probably watched 4 and 5.
I watched it a lot as a kid. If that says anything.
It's like my background movie during Halloween. I'm like, 4 and 5. I just throw it on.
Well, because AMC shows them. Like,
they show
on
back
constant loop.
That's true. And I feel like every streaming service has the rights to them because they were like, just take it. It's 4 and 5.
Yeah. So can I pause since we're talking about the Halloween movies?
No, we're live.
Okay. So I got a question for you guys. As far as what makes a slasher film, there are some movies that are in the canon of big name slasher films that aren't slasher films.
Okay.
So, for instance, like Halloween 3.
Yeah.
is not a slasher film.
But it's in the franchise? Or?
Yeah, it's in the franchise of Halloween. So what counts as a slasher film? What makes a slasher film a slasher film?
I thought about this.
Okay.
Okay. And I don't have an answer.
I know, right?
It's kind of tough.
And is it literally just
feel-
as simple as like body count?
It could be. I was gonna say body count, and I feel like it's always a story about revenge. For
Yeah,
like
there's always some
99.
there's always some sort of like he's coming. They're coming back to haunt the town that they once were part of. I guess.
Yeah, it's
like that.
it's an outcast who
Or-
was pranked or something.
Yeah.
Actually, could Kill Bill be a slasher because it's about revenge and the body count's
No,
high?
I think
that's a revenge
Honestly,
movie.
I think.
Well, these are revenge movies. I mean, if you're gonna,
Yeah, but sometimes they are and sometimes they aren't. Like,
do you think?
sometimes they're just like, hey, you're in my territory. Like,
that's true. Like
because
Jason,
like the
that's-
Jason movies
yeah.
are basically you're in my territory.
Yeah.
You know.
There are like a lot of non-counselors that get killed in that movie.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of territorial around where Jason lives. You know,
Mhm.
Camp Crystal Lake.
I just realized that Kill Bill thing was kind of stupid.
It was very, very unusual. I was wondering why you picked that. But I always classify slashers as like a masked perpetrator
Yeah.
that's going around killing people.
Because there's a thin line, I feel like, for what is a murder mystery and what is a slasher.
Sure. Okay.
And I don't know, maybe it's, and I feel like for slasher, it's body count and violence, and murder mystery, it's more about suspense.
I guess Friday,
I don't
the
know.
original Friday.
It's kind of it's a weird blurred line.
the original Friday. I could see being a murder mystery.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, why?
I think it's a slasher.
You don't know
I think
who
it's-
it
I think
is.
it's a slasher.
No, but you don't know who it is, so it's a mystery. The whole throughout the movie, you're trying to figure out who this is.
But it's almost like as Halloween, like, yeah, that's the one that kicked off the
classify,
slasher
like-
craze, but there's how many people die in that movie?
I classify like Clue as a murder
Scott-
mystery.
Yeah.
Clue.
Yeah,
Like, that's a murder mystery. That's not a
Okay.
slasher.
But a lot of people die in it, and it's like
Yeah.
almost like I feel like where the story's structured where every 20 minutes somebody dies,
Yeah.
you know?
They're spacing it out a little bit.
But it's the same structure as a murder mystery, where every 20 minutes somebody dies in the murder
I
mystery.
feel like you asked a question and then you spawned off 10 other questions.
So,
it's hard keeping track of what you're.
I know, I'm all over the place
It's a
right
lot,
now.
dude. You're asking a lot of
Well,
questions.
I'm honestly, I'm confused by the question that I asked, and I'm like, where am I right now? Yeah, I'm just saying what makes a slasher film, and what makes it not a murder mystery.
Okay.
And I feel like it's a weird, blurry line.
Would you classify Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I
as
wrote
a-
it down in my
as a
notes. I
slasher?
wrote it down in my notes. That was I was like, why isn't Predator a slasher film? Somebody dies every like 20 minutes, and
And
it's
it's-
about like a stalker.
Yeah,
that-
stalker, basically. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what? I'll say it. I think it's a slasher film.
yeah. Why not?
He wears a mask, like you said. So you
Okay.
said all he has to have is a mask on. And it's a slasher film.
But also, he's not from this planet.
So is it considered an alien movie?
I think an alien movie.
I've always considered an alien movie, but it's got a slasher film structure to it.
Yeah,
That's
Like-
a good question. Okay.
Yeah,
That
right.
was good.
Okay, do you see what I'm getting at?
I do. Yeah.
All right, cool. End of the show.
All right. What do you got for your number 2, Honto?
It's a movie from Italy called Stage Fright, which is available on Shudder.
Okay. Go. What's it? What's it about?
It's basically a director and his actors. They lock themselves in the theater to practice for. They're basically rehearsing for a musical that's about to debut. And meanwhile, there's a escaped mental patient that's locked inside the theater with them. And
Okay.
chaos ensues.
Okay. What year is this?
It is 1987,
Okay.
but it's
Oh,
like
okay.
it's a part of the whole like giallo. So it's like slasher, Italian slasher.
You
movies.
really like the Italian.
It's very interesting. It's an interesting genre.
Okay.
I think so.
I feel like you bring it up a lot, and that wasn't like a cut or anything. I feel
but
like
the theme of the slasher in this movie is pretty interesting. So
okay.
And I'll admit, I haven't seen this before. It's popped up on a lot of lists, and
Yeah.
I always meant to watch this, and I'm gonna watch it now that you've recommended at number 2.
yeah,
Right, number 2.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen it.
It's
I've
another
heard good
movie.
things.
It's another movie next to Mad Men that I watched several times. As soon as
Really?
I got as soon as I signed up for Shudder. So
Okay.
Okay.
yeah,
All right. Let's.
that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
That's cool. He did good. It was good. All right. Go ahead and walk us through your top 5 leading up to your number 1.
Okay, my top 5, I started off with April Fool's Day. Then I went to Sleepaway Camp, The Prowler, My Bloody Valentine, and my absolute number 1 most recommended slasher film.
Leprechaun 3.
Yes.
Okay.
No. Leprechaun 3 is like 95. Come on. No, my absolute most recommended is Friday the 13th Part 6,
Okay.
Jason Lives. I
Okay.
feel it is the best slasher film
Is this
of the
where
80s.
is this
where
where
it's
he's
just-
like official like he's officially like supernatural?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This
Okay.
is where it's like, okay, he's come back from the dead.
We can't
2 or 3
explain how
times
many
now.
times he comes back, so it's just
Yeah.
make him a monster.
So now he's like Frankenstein's monster.
Okay.
And he goes on a rampage, but it's like they just have fun with him.
Yeah.
And it's just the best structured Friday movie. I've never watched it with anybody that didn't like it. I know it's a lot of people's fan favorites.
Yeah.
And it's either this or number 4 that people are always like, oh, which one? You know, they go back and forth.
2 completely different movies, too.
Yeah, because 4 is really serious and dark, and 6 is just like comical.
Comical, yeah. Because 6 is
And
where he has like
gothic
the.
and
Is that where he
fun.
has the chains and everything?
Yeah.
Is that the new look and
He looks
everything?
really cool in it.
Yeah.
Like he's
No,
also
that's,
like.
I think that's 7.
Oh, it's 7.
With
Okay.
the chains, because isn't...
Oh no, it is. Yeah, because he
Yeah.
gets the chains at the end of 6.
Gotcha. Okay.
6 is where he's
Man,
got like
that
the,
was such a nerdy moment.
it
that
was.
Go ahead.
6 is where he's got like the utility belt.
Oh yeah.
And he was,
I know
and
that
he's
one.
got the throwing knives.
Yeah.
And but like his makeup looks awesome in it.
Okay.
And it's a really cool. I think what I like about it so much is I'm a huge fan of Universal monster movies,
Yeah.
and I think it's the closest slasher film to that, where it's just
Oh wow.
in like it's like pacing, and it's like I don't know how to say this, like the way it looks and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just
It's very iconic.
very iconic. It's the best.
You
Friday
had
the
me at
13th movie.
iconic. I set up for that one. Well, I have something to kind of counterattack yours. So
Okay.
I'll do mine real quick. So number 5 was Funhouse. Number 4 was Nightmare 3. Number 3 was Child's Play. Number 2 was Halloween 2. And my number 1 was Friday the 13th Part 6. I think it is the best slasher as well. Did you even hear what I said?
What? I looked down at my notes and was like, "Wait, what? Did
Yeah.
you really?
Oh, yeah. That's,
Dude.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This is
I
cool.
I got sleepaway camp.
Yeah, you got Sleepaway Camp. Yeah, okay. What else? Why do you love 6 so much?
It's fun.
Yeah,
it's
right?
a fun movie.
I'm really excited. I get called.
I know. It's the characters are fun, and that's what I wanted to talk about earlier. Is like you have a lot of these movies where these
Yeah.
characters are completely forgettable. They're funny in this. They're making jokes. You like Tommy Jarvis is awesome.
Oh,
Yeah, they basically
yeah.
fixed Tommy
Okay.
Jarvis at this point because they make him
He's Corey
almost like he's
Feldman.
like borderline serial killer
Yeah.
in 5,
New Beginning.
and in 6 he's on a mission.
Your average Joe.
Yeah.
And he's very likable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this is like the first time that like I think it's the only time in the series where the camp is actually up and going. Right?
Okay, it's up in. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's the only time there's actually
Yeah.
kids at the camp.
So
Very unusual.
I think
Like-
it's a fun movie. Actually, the director of this movie was offered to do Scream, and
Really?
obviously, I think Scream the way it is
Yeah.
perfect.
Scream's
But
perfect.
I'm interested in that world where, I mean, the guy who directed this. I can't think of his name, but
Tom
he-
McLaughlin.
It is
Okay.
Yeah.
He gets the horror humor, and
Yeah.
I feel like it just meshes so well in this
Yeah.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
all right.
it's just I feel like everything's working for this movie: soundtrack, actors, characters, story.
I would actually like to do a future episode just on that movie
Yes.
solely, just so
yeah,
we talk
I
about
would.
it.
I would
Yeah.
love to.
But okay,
Let's finally pick a good Friday the 13th movie.
And then Hanta, go through. Okay, so
Yeah, go
Hanta,
through your 5 again.
Your top 5.
I had The Funhouse as number 5. Number 4 is The Burning. Number 3 is Madman. Number 2 is Stage Fright. And number 1 is Sleepaway Camp.
Okay, so culminating our top 5, the ones that we talked about the most were Sleepaway Camp, and it's a tie. Sleepaway Camp, and I guess
Funhouse.
Well, was Funhouse on yours?
yeah,
Yeah,
And then
Sleepaway
Jason.
and Jason.
okay.
So those would be our top 3. Would be, I guess there's no one because they're
Well,
they're
one
all
would,
even
one would
scored.
be yours because you guys both had number 1
Okay.
as Friday. So I count that as the number 1.
Really?
Recommend. Yeah.
Okay, so our number 1 recommendation. You go ahead and say it.
This is Friday the 13th Part 6, followed by Sleepaway Camp, followed
and
by The Funhouse.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So-
That's a solid top 3.
Yeah, I'll take it. Even though I'm
Yeah.
not a huge fan of Sleepaway Camp, I feel like it does represent the genre well.
Yeah, I
And
think so too.
and just to clarify, I'm not saying I hate this genre. I just feel like I have to filter
did
it.
say
No,
that
we had to be
earlier,
on
but-
record. So it's,
Yeah, we
it's
had to be on
official.
record saying
Can you
I
delete
hate this
everything
genre.
we just talked
I
about?
don't like this genre.
So you had a question about slasher villains,
Oh, okay. So it's kind of a
just to kind of wrap things up.
all right. So it's like our fun question. This is our recess ground question. All right. Who would you rather fight? Jason, Michael Myers, or Freddy Krueger, and why?
You're not winning against Freddy Krueger. There's no way.
Freddy Krueger's gone.
Really?
Yeah,
immediately.
there's no
Yeah.
possible way.
But with every movie, they always find some way to kill him. So I feel
But then
like
he just comes back like everyone else.
yeah, it's to throw water on him or something.
Yeah.
But okay, I'm with you. Freddy's out. So wait, the question is, which one would we fight?
What would you rather fight and why?
Michael Myers.
Why Michael Myers?
He's so slow.
Yeah, but I feel like
Jason's more menacing, so I would say Michael.
And you have to be, and I'll say this: you have to be in the location. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You can't be like, well, Jason.
So
I just won't go to Camp Crystal
So I
Lake.
can just hang out in the town. I can go to multiple houses in Haddonfield.
Yeah,
I'm safe. I just switch houses.
Yeah, you're in there. If you pick them, you're in their spot.
Okay.
So, I would say the most human one would be Michael.
Yeah, that's why
I think Michael would be the easy one, but I don't know. They all have their but if Michael gets you, dude, you're done.
Well, I think that's the same way with all three of them. I mean, I would say the weakest one out of the three would be Michael. And that's what the ultimately the question is who's the weakest?
Yeah, who's the weakest? Who would you rather fight? And who do you think you could fight?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I don't know, but Freddy Krueger, man, if you were really creative, you could
saw
come up with some sweet dreams.
No,
we
saw that wizard in
in my dreams. I'm a wizard.
Yeah, we saw that wizard in Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
We saw what happened to him.
He always wanted to be a wizard. Why he's like, you know what? In my dreams, I'm also Freddy Krueger.
Oh,
and he's like, I also control the dream world. And then it's like,
I'm in your dreams.
I'm in your dreams. He's like, no, I'm in yours.
Welcome to our nightmare.
Our nightmare.
That's what I just said. That's what I just said.
Stop copying me.
I'm gonna wake up. This nightmare is horrible. That kind of mentality. So yeah.
Okay.
So I'll pick Freddy.
So there's a chance.
I'm a pretty creative person. I think I could beat Freddy.
Okay.
So you guys are. It's probably a stupid choice.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So
I mean, yeah.
So that's gonna wrap up our breakdown of 80s slasher films. Thank you so much for joining us on our first episode of the Cinema Cult Network presents podcast/TV show. We don't have a name yet.
It's a good one. It's a good start.
Please rate and review us on any social media platforms via the podcast. You can find us on we got iTunes.
We got iTunes. We have Google Play, and we have SoundCloud.
Yeah, and then
the top three.
Yeah, and if you have any requests, you can email us at
cinemacultpodcast@gmail.com.
And you can hit us up on Facebook. Send us a direct message. We'll respond to anything. I don't think there's anything we won't do as long as it's not too bad. But yeah, and obviously follow us on YouTube and like this video. We'll be putting out more content. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. I'm Chris.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Honto.
And we'll see you next time.